Hey everybody, welcome back to the WRESTLEDUDE YouTube channel, and welcome back to what should have been a full-on talking takeover review for NXT Takeover 36, but instead, given circumstances, I feel like doing something a little bit different. For starters, I kind of want to explain why this hasn't come out like immediately after NXT Takeover. Usually I try to get these recorded and posted maybe like a day or two after takeovers. Stuff has been a little bit different lately. I started a new job, and the way that it has been going is I go in to work at like 8 in the morning, and then I get home at like 5 at night, so not a lot of time to be filming stuff, but thankfully I'm moving over to my second shift, which gives me all of the morning to work on videos and stuff like that, so it shouldn't really be a problem anymore. So that explains why one part as to why I haven't posted this sooner, but the second part is, you know, to be honest, I didn't really care, you know, about Takeover 36. I feel like with all the news that has been going around NXT and about NXT lately, this NXT Takeover, you know, they had NXT Takeover The End a couple years ago. They probably should have saved that title for now. I know NXT Takeover The End, that title was because it was the end of Finn Balor and Samoa Joe's feud inside the steel cage, but honestly, this does feel like the end of the good NXT, and given what we'll get onto later on and give my thoughts on, it definitely does seem that way. But I want to give my thoughts on some stuff that happened at NXT Takeover 36. See, even the name sounds so boring. I know they did NXT Takeover, what was it? NXT Takeover 25, but I mean 25, that's a milestone. 36 is just such an odd number. I don't know why they called it that. Who knows? Maybe they couldn't think of any other good name, but let's get into the matches here. Match number 1, pre-show match, Ridge Holland with Pete Dunne defeated Trey Baxter by pinfall. I didn't watch this, but I mean, it's great to see Ridge Holland back. Yeah, he came back on NXT. Happy to see him back after that brutal injury that he took by the hands of Oney Lorcan. And also, Danny Burch returned recently, so that's awesome. I love the tag team of Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Just two men that used to love beating the crap out of each other. They found respect for each other, and they became a tag team, and now they're beating up others. So I think that's a great thing when that happens, when a tag team is formed just by the two guys beating the crap out of each other, and then they become a tag team. Same way Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa became a tag team. They beat the crap out of each other, and then they became a tag team. Anyways, the first official match of the night was Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight for the $1 Million Championship. This was a very fun match. Great way to open up the actual pay-per-view. Had Grimes lost, Ted DiBiase would have to become LA Knight's butler. In the end, that didn't happen because LA Knight got socked in the face by the $1 Million Man, and then Cameron Grimes, with the entire crowd behind him, yells to the moon, hits the moon stomp, and then pins LA Knight and becomes the new $1 Million Champion. And then on NXT, we got a little segment between Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase where DiBiase drove off, giving Cameron Grimes a replica $1 Million Championship as he drove off, laughing maniacally. So it seems as though Ted DiBiase is done on NXT TV. I hope that they keep the $1 Million Championship around as like a title to be defended. I really do, but honestly, I don't know who Cameron Grimes could defend it against, or at least not right off the bat. I don't know. So maybe they'll just like keep it as a prop for him, and then when the perfect feud comes for it, then he can defend it then. But this was a very fun match. I've heard a lot of people compare Cameron Grimes to a Daniel Bryan type, you know, not just because of all the facial hair and stuff like that, but because like the crowd really does get behind him. He's kind of like the underdog that everyone loves to cheer for, the goofy guy that has a really awesome moveset, and I agree, he's very similar to Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, I guess we should call him now. But yeah, this was a very fun match, very fun opener. Next up, we had Raquel Gonzalez defending the NXT Women's Championship against Dakota Kai. This match was, well, first off, the build to it was very weird because, you know, Dakota Kai has been a fan favorite for years and years, and even when Raquel Gonzalez was doing very good work, you know, like, Raquel Gonzalez, she hasn't been on NXT TV for that long, and even in her time on NXT TV, majority-wise, she's been a heel, and if you have this mostly known heel, Raquel Gonzalez, going up against, like, longtime fan favorite Dakota Kai, who's had ups and downs in her career, and a lot of people have always wanted to see become NXT Women's Champion. It honestly, I understand why the majority of the crowd was cheering for Dakota Kai to win here and booing Raquel Gonzalez whenever she had the advantage. But this was a very fun match. There was a lot of really cool moments. There was like this cool cheeky Nando spot, but instead of doing the super kick in the corner, Dakota Kai hit the bicycle kick, and it ended in a very good way. So Raquel Gonzalez was on the top rope, and Dakota Kai runs around the ring to do her big running kick. The same running kick she used to turn heel, some say, turn heel against Raquel Gonzalez, except this time Raquel catches the leg, lifts her up onto the top rope, and hits a one-armed power bomb off the middle or top rope to retain the championship. I'm sure this result definitely bummed a lot of people out. Me, definitely. I had predicted Dakota Kai to win, and that wasn't even based off of, like, you know, like, ideally, like, what storyline would make sense, or, like, if Dakota's going up to the main roster. It was solely based off of, I'm a fan of Dakota Kai, I want to see Dakota Kai win, and she didn't. And depending on what happens next, this could be the last we see of Dakota Kai in NXT, so she gave us a really good match to go out on, if that is the case. But up next, we have what quite possibly will be a lot of people's match of the year. Ilya Dragunov versus Walter for the NXT UK Championship. I loved this match. This was really freaking great. I've been working on a project. At the end of each year, I usually do like a top 10 list of my favorite NXT Takeover matches of the year. This year, I'm doing something different. So at the end of the year, I have this giant compiled list of just my favorite matches from NXT throughout the year. This definitely went on the list. It was just a lot of hard-hitting stuff. Think of like their first matchup they had, and then times that by like 100. This was awesome, and you know, every time it looked like Ilya was about to get beaten, he came back, and the ending was honestly very, very awesome, where Ilya Dragunov lifts Walter off of his feet, and Walter is no small man, obviously, if you've seen him, lifts Walter off of his feet in a rear naked choke, and Walter taps out. I thought that was awesome. And Ilya Dragunov, I don't watch NXT UK, but I did watch the matchup between Dragunov and Walter. It was really awesome. Like I said, this one was also very, very awesome. Ilya Dragunov as the NXT UK champion is going to be great, especially for that brand, because when Walter was champion, Ilya Dragunov really only felt like the only guy that could take the championship off of Walter. Unfortunately, just the way some of that roster is built up, I hate using words like that, but the way that some of the roster is compared to like guys like Walter or Pete Dunne, no one felt like a real guy that could take the championship off of him except for Ilya Dragunov. And this is no slight on Ilya, but Ilya definitely seems like a much better challenger for people in NXT UK, because we've seen Ilya Dragunov lose to people in NXT UK, which proves that he can be beaten. So I feel like it can bring up some very interesting feuds for the people that watch the NXT UK brand. I just think Ilya Dragunov as a champion now is great. Where Walter goes, I don't know, maybe he might stay in NXT UK for a while. I know he's always expressed that he doesn't want to move to the US, but I mean, who knows? Opinions change, thought processes change, and you know, maybe a couple more zeros might change his mind, who knows. Let's move on to this, because this is going to be a very interesting thing to talk about. We have Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole in a 2 out of 3 falls, like 3 stages of hell match. That's basically what this was. Kyle O'Reilly picked a traditional wrestling match, which Kyle O'Reilly won via pinfall. And then Adam Cole picked a street fight, which Adam Cole won via pinfall. Both of those were really fun match moments. There's a lot of really cool stuff in it, just playing off stuff from their previous matches and building off of that. And it all came down to the steel cage, which was not like the last time we had a 3 Stages of Hell match in NXT, where it was like a steel cage with a bunch of like weapons and stuff all around. It was just a steel cage, and there were weapons in there from the street fight left over. And the ending to the match was Kyle O'Reilly gets handcuffed to the ropes, and Adam Cole's like talking to him and like yelling at him and bad-mouthing him and stuff like that. Goes for a super kick. Kyle O'Reilly catches the leg and puts him in a heel hook, and he has this hold locked in while he's handcuffed to the rope. And Adam Cole, like, there's a kendo stick right in front of him. Adam Cole just taps out. And honestly, I feel like this whole rivalry, a lot of people have compared it to the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano rivalry. Obviously, a lot of comparisons here with, the best friend turning their back on them, having a big rivalry where it's like 2-3 matches long. There's got to be a tiebreaker in this. The good guy wins the first one, bad guy wins the second one. Then we have to have this tiebreaker. And the same way that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, for a lot of people, their final match, the one final beat match, kind of petered out. I was a fan of the one final beat match. I will say I'm honestly not fulfilled with this, but if reasons are to be believed, I understand why they kind of rushed this to be the final match. Because with the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa feud, it wasn't just Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa fighting each other. There were cool-off periods, obviously, because of Tommaso Ciampa's injury. There were cool-off periods where Gargano's feuds spiraled into other feuds, against Aleister Black or Ricochet or Andrade or people like this. And then Gargano turned heel for a bit, and then they teamed up for a little bit, and then they turned on each other again. And then they had the one final beat match. And this definitely felt like a lighter version of that. With Kyle O'Reilly winning, I think that's big for him. Obviously, he can now go on to possibly be a challenger for the NXT Championship. We'll get onto that in a little while. But for Adam Cole, if reason is to be believed, he is now a free agent. He is no longer on the NXT brand. And it could mean that if he does not re-sign, then this will be the last that we see of him in NXT. And obviously, the whole wrestling code is if you're going to leave, you go out on your back, you put somebody over, which is what happened here. He put over his buddy Kyle O'Reilly on his way out. And if this is the last we see of Adam Cole in NXT, it was still very, very good, but for the story that they were telling, I would honestly say that I don't think anything in the match was bad. If anything, I feel like the crowd wasn't very alive, but it also might have been because there's a whole will Adam Cole re-sign? Will he won't? What does this match mean? If Adam Cole's staying, then maybe this match has a few more stakes. But if we know confirmed that Adam Cole is leaving WWE, then it's kind of a lock that Kyle O'Reilly is winning this, which is the same thing that we get onto in the main event here. But yeah, Kyle O'Reilly winning this was pretty cool. Pretty cool ending. Personally, seeing Kyle O'Reilly tap out Adam Cole while he's handcuffed, I just think the visual of that looked really cool. But I can understand why a lot of people might have not been a fan of this. Which brings us to the main event. Samoa Joe facing Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship. I actually went to sleep because I had to get up for work the next day pretty early, so I actually went to sleep after the Kyle O'Reilly-Adam Cole matchup. And part of the reason why I didn't care to stay up watching this main event, like I said, the same reason with Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, kind of a predictable outcome there that Kyle O'Reilly was winning. This was the most predictable outcome, perhaps, in NXT TakeOver history, that Samoa Joe was defeating Karrion Kross here. Spoilers, we have a new NXT champion. Obviously, it's not really a spoiler. It's been out for, over a week now. Yeah, there was no doubt in my mind that Samoa Joe was... no doubt that he wasn't winning the championship here. This was a fun match from what I watched of it afterwards. There was a lot of really cool moments. Samoa Joe being away from the ring for a while, I will say he definitely looked a little bit sluggish, but honestly nothing too major. Karrion Kross, I know not a lot of people are a big fan of him. I like his wrestling style. I think he's fine. People have compared him to Goldberg. I would not compare Karrion Kross to Goldberg. And no offense to people that are fans of Goldberg. It's just, comparing the two, I have more fun watching a Karrion Kross match than I do a Goldberg match. But that's just personal taste, We don't have to go attacking people for personal opinions and stuff like that, unless they're objectively stupid. But those are opinions that don't have to do with wrestling. Yeah, this was a fun match. Samoa Joe hit his signature moves, the suicide dive to the outside, the jumbo jet dive, as I like to call it, the enziguri in the corner. Samoa Joe hits the muscle buster, which is a move that we have not even seen in WWE in a long time, and wins the NXT Championship. It's just a lot of people saw this coming for Karrion Kross. He's been on Raw, and look how they massacred my boy on Raw this past week with his samurai outfit or something like that. Who knows? Like I said in the past, I liked his gladiator outfit. I didn't want them to go a step further with it, with a mask and like these straps over him and stuff like that. And they took away Scarlett. I don't know what's going on with Scarlett. Now she wasn't even appearing on NXT TV. I don't know what's going on with her. I hope she's doing well. But yeah, this was probably the most predictable outcome in TakeOver history, and honestly, I feel like that's kind of, with the exception of maybe Cameron Grimes and, well, no, not even that. Now that I think about it, honestly, I guess so. This is a very predictable TakeOver card. I mean, taking out the pre-show match with Ridge Holland and Trey Baxter, I mean, that was kind of predictable too, that the guy that just returned, Ridge Holland, was going to get a big win over Trey Baxter. But this was kind of predictable. Cameron Grimes winning the championship was kind of predictable. They're not going to have 𝗍𝗍𝗂, a legend, become LA Knight's butler. Raquel Gonzalez retaining the championship, although it would have been nice to see Dakota Kai win. Dakota Kai has also been doing dark matches on SmackDown, so odds are she's probably leaving NXT too. So her winning the championship here, unfortunately, probably wasn't that big of an outcome. Ilya Dragunov winning the championship here, kind of obvious considering, like I said, he's the only person that I could viably see beating Walter for the championship, so it was kind of obvious that he was winning here. Kyle O'Reilly we spoke about earlier. If Adam Cole is leaving WWE, it was kind of obvious that Kyle O'Reilly was going to win this. So we could either see Adam Cole show up on some non-WWE brand, or we could see him on Raw or SmackDown in the coming weeks. But yeah, that was kind of obvious too. And then, like I said, in the main event, Samoa Joe winning the NXT Championship was probably the biggest obvious match ending of the night, because yeah, Karrion Kross is on Raw. It was kind of obvious that he was going to be dropping the championship, which unfortunately that's kind of how those types of call-ups go, is like when they're on Raw or SmackDown and they're holding an NXT championship, you kind of know that like whatever their next title defense is, odds are they're probably going to be losing it, so that way they can focus full-time on Raw and SmackDown stuff. But like I said, a very predictable show, and a lot of fun action. Like, everybody gave it their all. I mean, the top three matches, I would say, for myself personally, would probably be Ilya Dragunov versus Walter, Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, and then Cameron Grimes versus Ted DiBiase. The other stuff, I mean, I can give or take without, which is kind of saying something when you say, like, the NXT Championship match on the NXT TakeOver show you can do without, is pretty shocking. But it's also a testament to how great those other three matches were. So yeah, that was your TakeOver review and my thoughts on all the stuff that happened there. Some other tidbits from TakeOver. Kaylee Ray is now moving over from NXT UK to NXT, so that's very cool to see that. But let's move on to some other big NXT news that happened recently. Oh boy. NXT now has a new logo. Yeah, this was unveiled on Twitter that I saw it. 𝗟𝗚𝗚, the rapper 𝗟𝗚𝗚, tweeted out a video, a little clip of him singing a song over the new NXT logo being introduced. I have it on screen now for you guys to look at, and it just does not scream NXT to me. This looks like an NXT logo that would go on like WWE Kids magazine. It does not look good. I've seen a lot of people give their opinions on it for just like the shapes of it, like the angles don't work out well, the color schemes are weird. Black and gold has always been fine for NXT. What the heck does this show? Like, I mean, I'm sure there are people that are fans of like the color scheme, but like this just does not look good. And for those of you that have been listening to these videos for a while, you'll know that I wasn't even a fan of the current NXT logo with like the freaking metal like wings and skull and stuff like that. I just thought that was way too much. If we could just go back to the NXT logo from like, what was it, NXT 2018 or something like that, I feel like that was a really great logo. Let me look at this. What was it, NXT 2018 logo? Yeah, the NXT 2018 logo was fine. It was not too much. It still had the black and yellow and black and gold and stuff like that. It still looked very good. The logo that they had before they're changing to this like freaking multicolored one was just way too much, personally for me. But yeah, this is the first, I guess, of these new changes that are coming to NXT, and if that's true, then I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then we have like big talent like Karrion Kross. Whether you want to admit it or not, Karrion Kross was a pretty big name to have on NXT. Adam Cole possibly leaving. You know, seemingly there's a lot of women's talent that might be on their way to Raw and SmackDown. I mean, we had Mandy Rose come to NXT. So that's interesting, but just a lot of shuffling around when it comes to NXT, which is why right now I kind of want to announce that, you know, I've been doing these Talking Takeover events and Takeover review shows since NXT Takeover Philadelphia, and that was because that was pretty much the night that I fell in love with NXT, and currently the love's just not there, man. I mean, I do still really enjoy watching NXT. Week to week, every Tuesday, I should say, every Wednesday night, every Tuesday night now. Although I guess now I'll probably be watching it Wednesday mornings, considering I work at nights, so I'll probably miss it. But I still love it, but just not enough to do the reviews. But these were pretty much just a passion project anyways. I know, admittedly, not a lot of people did listen to these, but to those of you that did watch, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's time to bring it to an end. Who knows? Maybe NXT will get back up to a new height at some point. Maybe I'll get hyped up to do these again. But for now, I think it's time to end it. But I'm just hoping that even with this new logo, even with whatever visual changes they make to NXT, I just hope the stories stay good. I just hope the action stays good. I hope the promos stay good. I hope the characters stay good. It's just heartbreaking to see something that you've loved for so many years be wish-washed and messed around with, and so many outside factors playing a role in it. I'm sorry if I'm getting choked up. It's not because I'm getting emotional. It's because I have no more water in my water bottle, so I'm trying to wrap this up. But it's just a lot of crazy stuff is going on with NXT, especially in the last year and a half. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. But thank you guys for listening to, I guess, the final Talking Takeover review here on the WrestleDude YouTube channel. Let me know what you guys thought of NXT Takeover 36. Let me know what you guys think of the new NXT logo. Do you think this is a positive change for NXT? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you whenever.